And I believe you have a message that says John is recording.
Dude, I don't know.
Sweet. All right. Well, let's go ahead and rock and roll then. Hello, and welcome to the Rock and Roll Podcast. I am your host, John Harris. Usually on my right-hand side is my right-hand man, Gabriel, and he is home. I think, because I just got home from work. No joke. I just walked in the door right now from work, and he was in the shower. And I was like, hey, son, what's up? I'm going to go talk to Mercedes. And he was like, hi, Daddy. And he's my 6-year-old son, and he is the assistant engineer on the podcast. Maybe he'll poke his head down. Hopefully he does.
Okay.
Yeah. Today on the Rock and Roll Podcast, we have the White Swan, who has a new EP called Nocturnal Transmission, and it was released on September 18th digitally and then on vinyl via War Crime Recordings. Right now I'm being joined by Mercedes to share some more information about this beautiful EP. No joke, Mercedes, I actually listened to it on the way home in the car today.
Good.
Yeah. And I don't do that often for bands. I really don't. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to do it. Because I remember it being pretty groovy when I was checking it out the first time, and it is groovy. So
good. Well, I'm glad you got a double dose. So you got to get a little more familiar with it. Tell me about how you feel. How do you feel about this?
I just did something. That's what I did. Sorry. How do I feel about it? Well, that's really interesting. There's something deeply sexual about the record, I feel.
Really?
Something incredibly, even the words nocturnal transmission, I think of for some strange reason. What's that thing called when guys let go in the middle of the night?
That would be a nocturnal emission.
There you go. Yes, not a transmission, an emission.
Well, I don't know. That definitely
pelvic sorcery.
Yeah. Well, that's not on that record.
Oh, you're right.
Different record, But yeah, I can understand that. I feel like the underlying theme of Nocturnal Transmission is more like, like love and stuff like that. But I'm sure, jizzing in your sleep is not necessarily something not something I'm touching on, but that can happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, so the record's about love. I read that. It's about rituals. I read that. I read that it's about a journey that you went on that culminated in what I'm speculating is the guitar that is on the very record of which we chat. Yeah. So I met my husband. I think it kind of travels through me meeting my husband and stuff like that a little bit. And the last record touched on that a little bit, but I feel like this was more focused on what actually not that it's a concept record because it's not, but there is definitely some underlying themes. And on top of that, yeah, I got my guitar. He built me my purple baritone Telecaster, which is super cool. And it's on the record too, which is nice. Mm-hmm. Is that what the track Purple is?
No, but I was like, what am I going to call this song? And I was like, he built me a purple guitar. So yeah, so that's easy. And it's interesting too, because that was definitely a working title, but it just kind of stuck. Nowhere in that song do I say the word purple.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that works. I mean, I guess lyrically, is it about something other than the color purple?
It's just it's about kind of learning that basically you're staring into the unknown. You're looking at the unknown, and there's so many wonderful things that are happening. Quite positive stuff, and it's just kind of like a celebration of all the positivity, and how. Maybe sometimes that positivity can be a little bit suffocating, but in a good way, if that makes sense.
I can't breathe with all this unknown. It's great.
Yeah, right?
Perfect. Well, one of the things as I was listening to it in the car, because initially I think I listened to it on my AirPods. Usually I just put AirPods in while I'm going through emails and listening to tracks, and I give people 2 seconds because I have 100 emails a day to go through. And maybe I noticed it, maybe I didn't. But in the car, I definitely noticed it. Little mix thing there. Speaking of which,
What are you tuned to? Is it like Z sharp or Z flat? Like,
yeah, exactly. So drop Z. So we're actually drop A, which is, I mean, like there are bands now that are doing like drop E and drop D, if that makes sense. Like playing like 30-inch baritones and like taking like standard tuning and then dropping it down and a whole octave.
It's a bass at that point. Am I wrong?
Hey, see, these are my sentiments.
Well, I even have the bass player. I guess to bring girls to the show.
Yeah, right. So you would use like that would be like a bass 6, like that you would use. Yeah, so completely weird, right?
Yeah. Well, then speaking of the bass, that first track, it kicks in and I'm like, that bass is amazing. I mean, it's definitely got some hair on it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think the nice thing about working with Siegfried on this record is that him and I have worked together on so many different projects and so many different things that he really gets me, if that makes sense. He understands exactly what I'm going for. So like when I do something, he's like, oh, okay, I get it. And he'll like, he'll do the thing that I want him to do. And I don't even have to tell. But that's what happens when you have like a almost 20-year working relationship with somebody. Right. So, he did an amazing job on the record, and I think it's kind of really nice that he understands me and he understands what I'm going for, and hell yeah, he did an amazing job. And I was like, let's just make this bass really dirty, and he was like, say no more.
Say no more. Well, it is really dirty. Like it's beyond dirty. Like wow. Well, that's cool. So then because I wanted to talk about the production of it because the production sounds absolutely phenomenal. And I mean, there's all kinds of things I'm hearing these days that bands are doing, especially with what's going on this year, is recording in their home studios and then sending it off. So did you record somewhere and then send off like raw tracks to Siegfried and then he reamped everything and did everything? Or what did you, I guess, give him?
So this record was actually, we sat on it for a long time because everything kind of went to shit after we got the record back. So we recorded this in December of 2019. So everything was still normal then.
What do you mean? I don't understand.
Right? There was no COVID. We weren't, so we went into the Siegfried studio and we recorded everything that way. So we didn't we didn't send any tracks back and forth or anything like that. We did it the old-fashioned way.
Wow. Well, that's cool. I mean, maybe take us through that. Is there a silly question, Mercedes, but just for the sake of conversation?
Sure.
Is there a difference between sitting there with him recording the old-fashioned way versus in your own time in between not burning craft dinner or something? Not that you would burn craft dinner, but you know what I mean? Like at home on your own time, getting some tracks done and kicking them off.
I feel like if we recorded kind of in the way like where, I'm just doing it home studio style, I feel like I would pick it apart too much. And it would lose a lot of the spontaneity, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you have, because I do have a recording set up here that I demo with a lot. I feel like I wouldn't want to record an entire record that way because, magic happens sometimes with mistakes. And I feel like that wouldn't happen. And I'd just continuously be like, that's not good enough. That's not good enough. Whereas if you're in a studio, it has to be good enough at a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like recording and on your own time, it kind of takes away the spontaneity of it. But I don't know, like I've never actually recorded a record that way, but I feel like because of the person that I am, I'd give somebody, whoever I decided to, like mix and master and like, edit stuff. I'd give them probably like 300 tracks and be like, have fun. And they'd be like, see you in 6 months. You know what I mean? Like,
what does this track mean? Underscore, bip, this, that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it would just be like, I wouldn't know how to handle it. Like I need somebody to tell me, okay, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that makes sense. Because like I would go nuts and pick everything apart and then it would never get done.
That would be terrible. Now, I'm looking at it on the internet. Is it Beach Road Studios with the big red wall?
Yeah.
Now, that looks sexy.
It is actually the sexiest place. Siegfried is actually the sexiest producer / engineer / studio owner in the universe.
He does have a good look to him. This picture on Wikipedia where it's like black and white and he's kind of looking away and he's got that hair wisping in his face and I
gotta look at his Wikipedia page now because
the 7:30 shadow. It's like beyond 5 o'clock shadow. It's like 7:30.
Yeah. Oh, that's this photo. Yeah. When you Google him, he's got some good pictures up there. His hair's a lot longer now.
Okay. Yeah. Initially it said Germany and I was like, oh, so you flew to Germany, but I guess he moved to Canada at some point.
Yeah. He lives in Goderich. I don't know if you've ever been to Goderich, Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful little town. His family has a farm. They came here in the 80s. From Germany, and they have a farm here, and or in Goderich, just outside of Goderich, rather. And he built his studio there, and it's a wonderful, beautiful place. And anybody that lives in this general area, I recommend going there.
Okay, perfect. I've speculated he has a website. People they're doing it right now. They're looking into it.
Yeah, they can just, Google Beach Road Studios or Siegfried Meyer and you'll find them pretty easily.
Okay, perfect. Now, something else that you had mentioned was that things went askew this year. And you mentioned that you had recorded the record by December, so you had big, grandiose plans for what was going to happen. And I'm speculating on some level that it didn't happen. So I guess take us through, how did this year turn out for you? Did it end up being a blessing in disguise in some way? Was it just total shit from beginning to end? Well, it hasn't really ended yet, unfortunately.
I feel like, we started off the year pretty great. We had finished recording by the end of December. And by, we ended up getting the record back from Siegfried by, February. I told him, take your time. We got all the time in the world, not knowing that we actually would have all of the time in the world. So when after, we got the record back in February, March rolls around and, everything shuts down and, we sat on the record for quite a while because we didn't know what to do, right? Like we had been like, okay, well, we're going to release this record in, who knows? I think we were talking about like April or May. And then we kind of were just like, well, we don't know what to do because, we can't play shows. There's no live shows. That's like the main way of, promoting a new record. So we kind of sat on it for a little bit and, I was just like, I got to get this record out so I can just move on. So I called up my good friend Steve and I was like, hey, you want to do another record? And he was like, yeah, sure. And then so we started putting everything together once that had kind of happened and we picked a release date and, him and I talked about it a little bit and he was just like, you just got to create lots of content. And I was like, you know what, I can do that for you. I have, I don't have any extracurricular activities right now, so I can do all the interviews. So that's basically what we've been doing since, I think when we announced the release of the record in August. So, so far, so good.
Yeah. Well, Gabriel just showed up. You want to say hi, son?
Hey.
Hello.
This is Mercedes. You want to say hi to Mercedes?
Hey.
Oh, that sounded exactly like the last hey.
Okay. Well, perfect. Sweet.
He's not like on a record, like you're hitting play on a recorder.
Well, I mean, we're getting pretty high tech these days in Edmonton.
I like it.
Yeah. Groovy. So you mentioned that you're doing some interviews, and that leads me into my next question, which is, a lot of bands have been doing all sorts of things, from underwear giveaways to live streams to acoustic sets to starting their own interviews. A band interviewed their own members because they hadn't seen each other for a couple of months, and then they were like, "Hey, what have you been up to? You know what? Let's film it and put it on YouTube." So I guess my question then is, you've been doing some interviews and you picked a date to release the record. And have you been doing anything else with regard to the unusual circumstances of coronavirus?
Yeah, we're lucky here, and I know that you guys, we got into stage 2 and then stage 3 pretty quick. So we were able to film some videos for the 2 singles that we're releasing. And one of them has already come out. So In Love and Ritual came out in August. And then we're going to put out another video, shortly. Other than that, just lots of promotion and stuff like that. I've filmed some interview stuff, quick rundown of songs, which is always awkward because it's basically me just talking into a camera. I always feel like a little weird when I'm filming stuff myself, because I'm not answering a question to a human face, if that makes sense, or like a human voice. So it's just like I just have to pretend like I'm talking to somebody. So I'm sure everyone will see that and be like, well, that was weird. But other than that, we're just hopefully maybe put something together where we can record separately or whatnot, and put together maybe a live stream or something. I know that there's a couple bands that we normally play with that are looking to do that as well. So if we all kind of get in on it, I think that would be super cool.
Mm-hmm. As long as it's what did Mr. Ford say? No more than 10 people inside, 25 people outside. Is that the latest?
I believe that's a thing. That sounds right. I don't really leave my house at all. So other than to ride my bike and if I have to go buy cat food. So I just, I've been using Instacart a lot. I don't know if you guys have that there. Do you use Instacart there?
Well, we buy our groceries online and I go pick it up.
Same thing. Yeah. Okay. Except the Instacart, the lady delivers it, which is super cool because that means I don't have to get up from my couch.
Oh, yeah. Instacart.ca, grocery deliveries near me in Edmonton, AB. That's me.
Did I just change your life?
You might have. Whoa. Yeah. TNT, Staples, Loblaws, Walmart, Costco? No. Yeah, oh, my goodness.
Costco, man. I just, you know what? The only thing that sucks though is you don't get your Costco points like the platinum membership, but if you collect PC Plus points,
which we do,
they will apply them to your PC Plus card.
Okay, because we have the Costco MasterCard and we're gonna get already as it is like $100 back. And that doesn't even include her membership, so.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. As soon as my wife was like, so where are we at on those points? I'm like, let me go tell you. And I told her, and she was like, that is amazing. And she started doing a dance, and I was like, this is married life right here. What
happens when you get married? You get excited about stuff like that. So yeah. I completely understand.
Mm-hmm. I just noticed, because I was cruising through Siegfried's website, that you are a part of some drum sample packs that he has.
Yeah. That was a while ago too, but he has
He has sampled my drums and uses them for his drum packs, which is pretty cool. But yeah, dude, Siegfried's great. Cool. He always involves everyone, which is super nice. Especially because we've been working together for so long, right? So.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask, and this is kind of a weird question. I don't know how you would answer it, but basically my thinking is why? What is so special about sampling you or your drums?
Well, I think they sound on the records that I've worked with Sig. I think the drums sound pretty great. So for somebody that's in a home studio that wants to replicate those sounds, that's a great way to do that, right?
So this is going to sound bad, but I figured there were samples on the EP, but that's you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all me.
Okay. Well, then those are great sounds.
See, there you go.
Oh, now my next question is, since you had all the time in the world, I guess, did you think about maybe going back and recording another 4 tracks and coming out with something more full, or why an EP, I guess?
With EPs, we can release them at a, faster. You can release them faster, more frequently. It just kind of, I find releasing a couple songs once a year or twice a year kind of keeps people engaged rather than like just releasing 12 songs. And then, taking another year and a half or 2 years or whatever. You constantly have something to promote if you keep releasing EPs, basically. And you constantly have, something to promote and something, that people are going to be interested in and talking about,
Yeah. Now, this is kind of an interesting question since you mentioned that. And you've been involved in the music industry for quite some time. So I just wanted to bend on that. For example, did doing full albums in the past, say 20 years ago ish, 15, 20 years ago, was that more of a thing than it is now? Has it, or I guess maybe take us through that.
I feel, for me, I don't know, because there's 2 different kinds of people that listen to music. There's people that don't care about tangible stuff. And they, download and stream stuff. And then there's people that are collectors and that really, still care about having a physical copy of a record, whether that be, on vinyl or tape. Listen, we did a run of tapes.
No, you didn't.
Anubis, yeah, and they sold out.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So
I had a band offer once to send me a cassette, and I said, "And what would you like me to play it on?" My car doesn't even have a CD player anymore. Like, give me the Spotify link.
Right. So tapes are making a comeback, man. But yeah, no, it's crazy because there's those 2 different kinds of people, and for us, we kind of have to cater to both of them, right? I can understand how somebody that's buying a vinyl how they would want, to have a full record that they can hold in their hands and they can page through the booklet or, whatever medium they decide to purchase the album in. But I mean, and I get that too, because I'm totally that person that wants, to hold something in my hand. I have lots of vinyl and stuff like that. And I have a ton of CDs that I haven't looked at since I moved to this house. They're in a box still, but I have them.
Mm-hmm.
But haven't gotten rid of them. So it's, it's just one of those things, right? Like there's 2 different schools of people, I think. And I think, as a musician, you kind of got to give people a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel the record translates to vinyl? Because listening to it in the car, there's a lot of low end.
Yes. So we had a special master done for the vinyl. Siegfried did a vinyl master, which is super cool. And last time I heard it, which was when we did the test press, I haven't even listened to the actual real life copy of it yet. But the test press sounded amazing.
Cool.
So
It translates very well. I recommend if you do have a record player, check it out. But, just get ready to turn it up really loud. And so, and annoy your neighbors.
I agree with you. Groovy. All right. Well, I don't believe I have any other questions. Was there anything that you wanted to chat about that I did not bring up? And you're like, man, I really hope it's been ages since I last chatted with John. I hope he asks me about, and then.
No, not really. Other than I feel like people should go check out our Bandcamp, thewhiteswan.bandcamp.com. And other than that, enjoy music. Get out of here.
Where are you going?
Sorry. I have a cat that was being bad. Right.
Oh my God. I was about to say bad kitty. And then I realized that's kind of a bad, like a double bad joke. But anyway.
He's bad. Anyway. People just need to go check out our Bandcamp, if they're interested. And, that would be thewhiteswan.bandcamp.com. They can also check us out on Spotify or anywhere basically that you stream stuff. There's our stuff on YouTube. Basically anywhere that you feel like you're like where you go to buy or listen to music, you're going to find the White Swan. So.
Bum, bum, bum.
Right?
Yeah. I was going to ask why you think In Love and Ritual is the number one track on Spotify, but it's probably because it was released as a single.
Yeah, it was released first.
Yeah.
It just got there first.
It got there first, Yahoo. All right. Well, lady, thank you so much for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast today.
You're very welcome, and thank you for having me. I always enjoy chatting.